Hey guys, welcome to this episode. We are super excited to talk to our guest, but first we have a sponsor for this episode, Diana Sports, makers of the SF joggers and the Grind Air gloves. You can head to their website, dianasports.com/overshot, and you'll get 5% off your order. And yeah, right there.
Right down
And
there.
yeah, go there and it helps us out. Actually, if you go to /overshot, it tells Tim from Diana that we sent you, and then he sends us an email about all the people that used the code and went there, and he gives us stuff, and it's pretty cool, man. We like it. But now that we're done with the ad read, I really want to get to our guest. Man, that really doesn't need an introduction. Carl the Microwave Markowski of many teams, recently retired though, but I'm sure we're going to get into all that. But we're gonna turn this one on you, man, because this is how you like to start. What was the first time playing paintball like, and what was your first experience all about?
Oh man. Well, first off, thank you for having me. It's a little different. A little different being on this side of
right. That's why I want to hit you
podcast.
with that question, because you love to hit people with that one.
Yeah, I know. Now I'm gonna get a taste of my own medicine. But it's fun. It's good conversation. So
Always.
yeah, thank you for having me. The first time I played paintball was man, I believe 2002 ish, something like that. My buddy was going out with his father and talking paintball, talking about hoppers, all this other shit. I had no idea like what he was talking about. I'm like, okay, well, kind of like I liked the kind of edgy sports. I like to skate, I like to snowboard, I like all the all the extreme stuff. And he had mentioned this paintball thing he was talking about, and just, hey, dude, come on, let's go, let's just have fun. We'll do this. You're gonna love it. So I get out there, and I remember you probably heard me talk about this, but one of the most distinctive things that I remember was when I first started playing was like when I opened the bag of paint, and it wasn't good paint at all. It was terrible. It was oily. I remember that. But when I opened the bag, it just smelled like old garbage, and it was just I have that burned into my nasal memory, and it was like. I remember my goggles getting all fogged up, but nothing phased me, like in a sense to where nothing made it not fun. No matter what I could go back and look back on and go, man, that would have been annoying if it wasn't my first time of like being intrigued by the sport and the senses kind of going crazy.
Right.
I look back and I'm like, man, I would have went nuts now, not being able to shoot straight or see anything. But I'm, I go into it and just all of your senses kind of start firing. It's kind of this big hide and seek game, and I'm running all over the place, and I'm hiding, and I'm sitting, I'm breathing heavy. You can feel your heart, kind of racing. And from the moment I was getting shot at and I was shooting back at somebody, I was like instantly hooked. I was trying to dissect the whole thing. I always had this mentality of like, being not necessarily being the best, but just pushing myself to be the best that I can be at whatever it is I try and pursue. Right. So it's, and ever since then, I just wanted to become better. I instantly saw it as something to be competitive at. And right at that moment, I just instantly wanted to become better and be the best that I could be at this game called paintball.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know everyone knows your story, but we're going to go into a little more. So,
Yeah.
Talk about your time on Tipman Effect. I know it was the first pro team you played for, and yeah, just go into that and how you got there.
Yeah, Tipman's fun. I actually, when I first started into the game, I was playing just as a side thing with a friend of mine, and then I learned about a indoor paintball field that was not far from me. And we actually, my friend and I, we started working there and reffing. So I actually started reffing more than I was playing. And I really was able to learn the game kind of in and out. And I think from a reffing side, I think it actually helped me learn the game quicker, just because I was able to kind of see games play out from a third person perspective, if that makes sense.
Right, you're just watching so many games.
Yeah, I'm watching a ton of games, and then after I a game or a day of reffing from working, I would I remember having I had this job, and my mom was always wondering why I was still asking for gas money all the time, because I was always writing off cases of paint from
Right.
my paychecks. So she goes, "Why do you have this job, but you never have any money? What is going on?" I was like, "Ah," and you're always coming home late. I'm like, I write off cases of paint and I stay after, and I'm either doing drills or I'm playing with my friends. And I think it was that whole kind of 10,000 hours thing of where it's just like you get obsessed and you start playing all the time. So I started reffing there with my friends. I started playing all the time, and an opportunity came along to try out for this team called Tipman Effect, which was based out of Toledo. And I didn't really still know much about it. And I made it at that point. That was now an obsession of mine to become a member of this team and become a better player to be on the team. I eventually made the team, and that team at the time was somewhat popular, but also fully funded by Tipman. So as far as traveling or tournaments or practices or anything like that, that was actually the first experience I had. I was fortunate enough to be able to play whenever and how much I wanted, because we had paint, we had a facility. I instantly was able to get on a tournament team and start traveling and going to tournaments. And I only played a couple local events, which I was terrible at, which I, to this day, whoever asked me to play on, no matter what it is, I could feel great. I could feel great, but somehow any local tournament that I play, paintballs find me. It's the weirdest thing. Nobody invites me to play them anymore. It's pretty fun. But but yeah, so I kind of got thrown into the scene right away, and kind of not this lifestyle of not getting paid to play, but having the opportunity to play without worrying about buying paint and gear and whatnot. Obviously we were using 98, so it wasn't the most glamorous thing, but it was one of those things where it, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So we're having all of these disadvantages per se with the 98, which weighs 98 pounds. And then you have your tank, which I had on a rail system, which made it even longer, and then a 16-inch barrel, and then a loader that hung off the side, and you know what I mean? So you have all these challenges that I kind of took head on, and I was like, no matter how cumbersome it might be, I want to be able to use anything that I can to my advantage and be as loose and lucid as I can playing the front spot, which is where I wanted to play because of all the action was. And yeah, that was my experience on Tipman, and just being able to kind of see the tournament scene and play with all my friends, which was a huge thing for me.
And yours never had a board in it too, right? I think I remember you saying, because I know like it never had that E-bolt thing. I mean, did you guys actually use those or anything back then? Or I think you said yours was stock, but everybody else might have had something in theirs.
Right. The only time that I actually started using an E-bolt was later in the year in 2004. It might have been just 2004, when we started playing 7-man. And I think it might have been just half that year, actually. But we started putting halos on there. And some guys were putting intimidator boards inside of them, and they were going nuts. But with the feed necks and everything, it wasn't really that great of a design to be able to accept and then shoot that fat. Yeah. So I tried to hold out with manual as long as I could. I know I did it for a few years. And then the 7-man scene, we turned pro, or I actually turned pro 7-man with Tipman Effect, and we started playing pro 7-man, and then they all started using those, and I realized how much easier it was once that happened to have a micro switch rather than trying to trip a sear with a double trigger and everything. So yeah, it got way easier with the E-bolt, but I didn't put any kind of anything super interesting. I was always stock. I mean, the same thing with when I was on Avalanche or any of the teams that I eventually jumped on. I was never really big on just trying to get the advantage technically. I always like to try and work with what I had and make the best of it. And just because I felt like, and some people look at it and go, well, at the time everybody was using them, and I actually got bitched at for not using it. And I was like, dude, but that's cheating. Like that's to me, like wiping and all this, and everybody can, I don't care who, like, I don't care who you talk to out there. everybody can be like, well, it ruins the game and this and that and this and that. I was like, number one, it happens. If anybody tells you that they've never wiped or tried to rub a hit off or anything like that, they're a fucking liar.
Oh,
and,
100%.
and the thing is, it's like, it's a part of the game. And when a game is on the line, you're going to push that line, right? You're going to ride that edge as long as you can. Now, it becomes an issue when you ride that edge on every single point that's not like a finals match. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like, and you have those opportunities and you have to recognize that. And it's not that you're a good cheater. I think it's just you are so poised to win that you can see those opportunities.
Right.
It's, see the opportunities if the ref's not looking, and you can, quickly get away with something. Or if the risk is too high, or, something like that. But I think it's just a part of the game. And it's, I don't even know how I got into that rant, but it was, it's like, people,
Yeah.
it's a part of the game.
No, I agree. I equate to like holding a football. I don't know how if you follow like NFL, but like they say holding happens on every play. It's just whether or not they catch it or whatever. It's the same thing. Like holding is a penalty. So by definition, no one would ever hold because it's a penalty. It's like same thing in paintball. Yeah, wiping is a penalty and it's cheating, but also trying to win the game here, man. Yeah,
it's like you have to get. Believe me, I'm not by any means encouraging cheating.
Right.
By any means, I'm not encouraging. I think not even that there's a place or time for it, but more or less that there is just it happens, right?
Right.
More or less.
Sometimes you get away with it, and sometimes you get caught. And when you get caught, I mean, those two bodies really fuck you sometimes.
Yeah, and if you want to be the douchebag that's terrible at cheating and ruins the entire tournament for your friends, then so be it. But a lot of the best cheaters out there don't get caught. And
right.
There's a reason for it.
Right. Like, and I think there's like levels to it too. Like, so like I think there's a big difference between like taking a hit on your knee on a dive and sliding in, and then I don't know if you were on the sidelines last year at ICC, but everybody was freaking out because like blatantly on the Dallas guy like blatantly wiped like a goggle hit and ran to the corner and freak out. Like I think that's one of those situations where you're like, yeah, come on, dude. Yeah.
Right. And I can't honestly stay there and stand here and say that I didn't take a hit off maybe at least once at ICC.
On the mound, I got hit and loaded, and I threw my gun into that mound.
It happened. Like if you don't have refs watching the game, people are going to take advantage of it. And there's only so many refs and there's so many players. So, it's one thing that just, it happens. But to do something that is blatant like that is, it's pretty risky.
Right.
Especially
the fact that I said that and you knew it instantly, you're like, oh yeah, like it's when it gets to that level, that's when but I feel like for the most part, a little dive and rub isn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. It's kind of you get hit and you flip off the crowd, you wipe the hit and you keep going. It's like, come on, dude.
Plus, I didn't play back then, but I've heard it was way worse back in the day. So
I'm sure it was. Yeah,
like it's kind of funny not to blow up his spot, but they're talking. We had Greenspan. He was talking about when they won one of the tournaments back in the day when like the other pro teams used to ref the event, and there's a whole thing because they ref the first one, so they feel like they were getting fucked because they knew they were like never gonna ref the ones. And
yeah, dude. To this day, I can see it now, man. It was San Diego, I think 2007. It was a 7-man event, NPBL. We played Dynasty in the finals. I think it was game 2, and I get to this car wash on the right tape, the 50. I get there, and actually before I made that bump, it was a little Dorito, and I wrap, and I shoot at who I know exactly who it is. It was Davey Williamson. Shout out to Davey. And I shoot him right in the wrist, right in the foregrip wrist, or the grip frame wrist. And I'm yelling at him, doing the whole like getting myself out of the game because I'm like yelling because it's bright orange, and I'm just like right there, and I'm yelling at the ref to pull him. He pulls the ref over, and he makes the ref wipe him off.
Oh
yeah, so I'm yelling at him, but I get shot back in. But then I take off and everything, and I, after the game, I was like, I shot you in the wrist, didn't I? He goes, yeah, I had the ref wipe me off. I'm like, there's nothing you can do. Like, I like getting confirmation just to be like,
No, it was like different thing back in the day because, like, yeah, again, I want to say it was Greenspan, not to talk about him so much, but he was like, I went to go call somebody out one time. Like, the dudes on Aftershock were men, and he was like, "You pull me out right now, I'm gonna kill you when we get in the parking lot." He was like, "Clean, good to go." I was like, "Not worth it, dude. You're right. You're clean."
That's like old school,
Right.
But yeah, it happened. It still does. It still does happen. I mean, I think there's possibly less of it.
I think so. I think players are a lot more honest these days, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but they're pushing the envelope different ways.
I think you have to, man. It's a sport. Like, not this to be like the whole if you're not cheating, you're not trying, not to encourage cheating, but like, you got to be given 110% if you want to win at this level. I feel like it's so hard to win a pro tournament. The stars have to align, and this and that has to be perfect. That if you cheat a couple times to get away with it, yeah, that might make the difference of you making Sunday and not, and make the difference of you going to the finals and not.
Yeah, or getting suspended for and losing everything for your team. So it's like there is a giant risk for it.
Oh yeah.
And if they want people to stop, obviously make it
harsher.
Make it harsher. But the thing, you're not going to stop them. I mean, that's the thing. It's still going to happen.
People want to win. The drive to win is great.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why the whole stuff with Russian Legion and Heat and everything like that, I feel like Russian Legion is playing that area so fine that, especially now with replays and everything like that, you know what I mean? I don't know if it's just Russian Legion, but I feel like their play style and the whole like run it down real quick, bang, bang, bang play type of thing is why Russian Legion is one that I think is playing that line that, because I know I jumped in here mid story, but that cheating and everything like that, I think Russian Legion is one of the big players with that.
Yeah, well, and you got to think about it too. There's a lot of times, I would say more often than not, that Russians get away with those quick points. They come out on top of the quick points. So the ones that I've seen, I think they've outnumbered the times that it didn't work.
No, for sure. I've seen it work more than one, like a bunch of times now at this
Right.
point.
Right.
No, but I feel like Waldo's kind of right on what he's saying. So like, I feel like if you're a back center guy and you're shot and you still shoot a couple extra guys and then you have one dude running and you're like, oh yeah, I'm walking off now, I'm dead. It's like, yeah, but now you got shot everyone. Of course, now you're walking off. The whole point was 15 seconds.
Yeah.
You stayed in an extra 5 and shot an extra body.
Yeah. I think a big thing now, what I think that they should do is move that back line back 5 yards or 5 feet. Like there's no reason why somebody, even in a prelims match, somebody should get pulled out of the game, out of a certain point, because running to a corner off the break takes a step out of bounds on the back line. That makes utter ridiculous sense to me, because dude, he's just running to the corner. Like put it back a few more feet. Now, if he does this whole kind of like U-shaped thing going out there and he steps out of bounds, yes, pull his ass out. But I mean, if he just does a straight shot, but he's only a few feet, to the rear, if he's just by a few feet, you're going to step out of bounds. They're going to pull you out.
Yeah, no, it's wild. Like I know now I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but I played the mechanicals a lot, and I did an airball practice yesterday to get ready for this tournament, and I'm standing at the box and I'm playing with a bunch of like free agents, people that didn't have players, and I'm like, God damn, like what? I'm like, shit is so fucking small, man. And like they're right there. I'm used to running for at least a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you're cramping everybody in because you can't go past. You can have, what is it, like 1 foot you can have back there, but you have to make a direct line to the corner. I was like, it's just, you're making it more complicated than what it needs to be.
I know. We don't want off on a tangent there, but so let's talk about you a little bit. Yeah, your time with Avalanche. I don't know. Were you on the time when Archie was on it? Because Archie's a big guy in the GZ camp. So do you guys overlap at all at your time?
For Avalanche?
Yeah.
So I was so after Tippmann, I actually went to Excessive and then went to Avalanche.
Okay.
And that was when Brandon Mayo, Danny Tiljak, Roger Henn, and that whole crew of guys we were a young, hungry team, and we were we actually played finals a ton. I know we won a World Cup with the team. It wasn't I think we played Open at the time in 2007 for X-Ball. We won World Cup and everything, and then we, to this day, I still hadn't won a pro 7-man event, and that just irks me still. But yeah, but no, the Avalanche team was super fun.
Yeah, who else was on that squad with you at that time?
We had Adam Geis, we had Andy Horvath, we had let's see, the Sosine brothers, Drew Templeton, Davey Simmons. I know I'm leaving guys out. I apologize. But yeah, man, it was a young, hungry crew that Ed just kind of, took under the wing and said, be good, figure it out, get good. He gave us obviously, the opportunity, and we took. I think we took advantage of it for the most part.
Awesome. And now, at what point in time did you get on Aftershock?
So Aftershock happened in 2013. So
it was after your break, right?
Yeah. So I kind of went on hiatus. I took a point after, let's see, it was 2009. And I jumped on Infamous the middle of 2008. And then 2009 came around, and it just wasn't, not that it was the team, not that it was the game necessarily. I think it was myself. It was a lot of internal things that I was dealing with that I needed to find my fire for the game again. And it just wasn't, if I kept doing it, I thought I was going to just burn myself out. And I didn't want to do that. So I just wanted to kind of take a break away from the game, get my, find my passion for the sport again. And I honestly, even then, even leaving when I did at the end of 2009, I didn't know if I was going to go back. It wasn't like in 3 years, I'm going to come back. You know what I mean? Or however long it was, but I felt like I missed a lot. But, it was kind of one of those things where I'm like, man, I still feel like I'm in my prime. I still wanted to try it out. And then the PB access started happening. I'm like, this is awesome. I want to be a part of it. And lo and behold, I was able to get a hold of Bruno. I forget who I talked to talk to Bruno, see if he would even be interested. But yeah, they actually gave me a chance in the middle of 2013.
Yeah, because that's what most people know you're from, is your Aftershock days.
Yeah.
So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit now, because this is what I mainly play. So I know we could go off on this. Is you play the ICPLs, you play with Infamous now, right? What
I did. So I played with actually I played with Ground Zero, the first one. I did. Well, and maybe even before that, I played with the man, who was it? I feel like I kind of just jumped around because I didn't really take him serious. Not that I didn't take him serious. I just thought of it as like just a fun thing to do. Whoever had an opening, I was just gonna jump on. Like I played for the Gunfighters at one event. I think I jumped on with Ground Zero, and then I wasn't really sure if I was gonna come over and play again. Then I eventually jumped on Infamous for ICC, and now I'm actually going to be rostered with Brimstone Smoke for ICC this year.
Oh, that's awesome. I know those guys. So yeah, we had to beat them to take second at ICPL. So I know
nice.
Some of those guys pretty well.
Yeah. So I just, I know I was asked last year to play with them, and then Anthony Call kind of messaged me and was bugging me about it. I'm like, yeah, he's like, why not? Sure. Let's do it.
They're super nice guys. So like we walked off our Woods game at ICPL, and they like pulled us aside right away. I guess they were watching me and my brother work. And then they were just like, man, you all are some long-haired, dirt-kicking, rocking motherfuckers on this side. We're like, thanks, man.
Yeah, man, that's they're a good crew. I know Mike, Charm City Mike, he plays for them, and the Call brothers and everything. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, man, for sure. So good, because I was gonna ask you this next. If you're going to ICC and that you're gonna start playing with Smoke.
Yes, yeah, just ICC. I'm not gonna be able to do any of the ICPLs, but just ICP at the moment. I'm still trying to figure out in a way how I can return to just playing more events. But right now it's nice because obviously I love to play the game, but I also love the time that I have been kind of recouping with the family and my little boy and my daughter and everything. And it's as non paintball as that sounds, I've kind of I've been playing paintball since 2002. I
Right.
mean, and not that my son and my daughter have been around since 2002, but my whole mindset has been paintball kind of since 2002. So to be able to kind of focus on something other than that and put some energy into it is pretty exciting.
No, yeah, it's nice because you've given the game plenty, so you definitely deserve the time to give to your family now for sure.
Oh, dude, it's not me giving to the game. The game has given me so much, and I'm so grateful because you know I have been so fortunate with the opportunities that have come along, whether it be the teams that I played for, whether it be the companies that I was able to work with. It has been an awesome journey to be able to kind of see the behind the scenes stuff and be able to experience the level of paintball that I played for so long. It was, I definitely don't take it for granted. I don't regret some of the, I don't regret any of the decisions that I made. And it's been so much fun, and I miss it tremendously.
Yeah, so that's why I figured you could play the ICC because you can give the time to your family, but then you could still play some events and not have to give the commitment to, let's say, an X ball 2 week and practice beforehand, plus the
Right.
event and whatever else.
Well, yeah, and on top of that, also, if it has to be, depending what team it would have to be for. If I'm traveling, I'm missing even another day, for travel and whatnot. So it's just makes it a little more difficult, not being involved in the sport, even on a work basis. It makes it a little tough.
Yeah. But we were talking about this a little bit before we started recording, but do you have any
Mhm.
like plans to hit up any big games this year? Like you're going to go back to Living Dead maybe this year?
I was asked to possibly do another clinic, and I'm, if it is during the weekend of Living Legends, I will definitely be there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love to hang out with you and actually play with you this time at a big game.
Dude, that's insane. Like I've never been like too fond of big games because I am so kind of I have this mindset of like this is my job. I'm gonna go do my job, and it's hard for me to kind of just walk around and kind of just wait for things to happen or just sit. Like the most fun I had at Living Legends was I worked my way up like through the school bus and crawled my way and jumped over this like hill and landed on my face on the other side because I underestimated how tall it was. And I eat it and I just kind of crawl up to this side and then what was the guy called? What's the dude that has a big trench coat and he has the big mask and everything and he walks around and he just
they change his name every year. They call it like Nemesis, I think it's Nemesis.
Yeah, so I was like sitting down because I saw him coming and I kind of sunk down into like this little kind of like ditch that I was in, and I saw him like walk by, and because he's just getting shot and he's still just kind of shooting everybody because I don't know any of the rules. So he's walking that way and he's distracted. So I just kind of turn around and just start playing again, just kind of keep peeking over my shoulder, making sure I'm not going to get shot in the back of the head. But I like kind of being in the trenches and just kind of just working my way up.
Me too. That's what I like about big games too. Is like I love the situations where it's like you like go around this way a little bit, maybe a little bit the long way you crawl up around the hill, and then there's like 20 or 30 dudes from the enemy team just kind of sitting there, and you're like, oh, time to eat, boys. Time to eat.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. So speaking of coffee and tea and everything, because I know we had kind of talked about it, and I like to drink coffee or tea on the podcast or while I'm doing it. And the reason being is, for me at least, is it's a palate / idea / mind changer kind of a thing, to where every time I kind of take a sip, I let it sit there for a little bit, and it helps me think more about what the person is saying, or maybe about what I want to say. And it just kind of gives me that time to just kind of collect my thoughts a little for that millisecond that I'm taking a drink. As dumb as that sounds, I have so many weird little quirks that I do for no reason at all, except for whatever reason I give them. But yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I drink coffee or tea, or do them
No,
both at the same time.
Yeah, no, me too. Especially I love doing it during the podcast too, for exactly the reason you said. It's like, yeah, you take a sip, you let the other person talk, you can digest it for a second more,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're like, okay, oh, now I thought about what I'm gonna say.
Yeah. It definitely has a flow to it.
For sure. The other thing I really want to get into too is why you started your podcast. Like, what was the driving fact? What was like the day where you woke up? Like, because Waldo and I had this day, even though he's not in here right now. He's texting me, I gotta figure out why he's not here. But it was like, because we had a point day where we were like, dude, why aren't we like, we were hanging out with our friends, like, why aren't we recording these conversations? Like, we just had sat down with like our good buddies, had like a 2-hour conversation where everybody was laughing and hanging out. Like, what are we doing here? When was that moment for you?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of had the same, revelation. It was, you go these years and years of listening, and kind of being a fly on the wall of, especially my younger years of these guys, myself not really knowing the situation, just kind of being a part of the situation. Right. And, you're hearing all these stories and you're having such a good time and you're listening and you're observing. And then later on in my career, I'm having more of these. I'm actually having these conversations with the conversations that were given to me or kind of directed at me when I was younger. And now I'm having those conversations with players coming up in the game. And I'm sharing these stories, and I'm starting to become more and more intrigued by people's stories on how it started and their take on things. And not just their stories, but also kind of their thought process of why they did this on the field, or why do you put your headgear on first before you put your jersey on, or just
I love
little,
that too. I'm a big like why guy. Like, hey, why do you do that, or why'd you do that? Like, I just want to know.
exactly, little details, even if it's, well, just because that's just what I do. That's fine. I just like to know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it came down to that I just like to know these things. And then I started discovering podcasts, and I'm like, man, I wonder if anybody would actually sit down and talk to me, and have a conversation, and would it feel right having a conversation, digitally like this, rather than in person, because I really enjoy them in person. But would this be as real? Because I know this is going to be the main way that I would be able to communicate, just because I'm so far away from everybody else. And, I first kind of questioned myself, because I am like, would people even want to listen? Am I even going to be able to carry a conversation when I know it's being recorded? Right? Because
We had
it's
the
one.
same fears. Same
Yeah,
fears.
exactly. It's I can sit down and talk with somebody with a couple beers, or what have you, a coffee, have a great conversation, be engaged in the conversation, laugh, cry, do whatever. But when it's being recorded and everybody's going to listen to it, am I going to be able to carry an hour and a half, 2 hour long conversation about paintball and all the nuances in paintball, and then everything else that kind of branches off from it? And that was a big thing for me, of like, whatever. I'll try it out, see what happens. If anything, it'll challenge myself. I'll figure it out, and I'll just do it. And I did. And I've had a lot of feedback of people saying, well, you've actually, even though it's tough for me to kind of acknowledge the change in the betterment of the podcast, just because I feel like I'm just myself. I just talk.
Right.
But I've had a lot of people tell me, dude, the podcasts have gotten a lot better. The flow of conversation has gotten a lot better. Your questions have gotten a lot better. And it was just a great journey and a fun time. And I'm nearing 100 episodes, which is crazy. Yeah, I didn't realize that I'd be able to do it for this long. It would, for me, it would be a lot better if I was still playing and doing the podcast. But this is the way that I'm still going to be able to kind of, keep the game around in one way or another. So I'm just keep it going as long as I can. And, I think I really enjoy it. I really do.
No, I think it's awesome because like the paintball community is so niche, and the people that do play paintball, I know you talk about all the time. It's like the people that play paintball already play paintball, and those are the people we continue to advertise to. But
Right.
we support it like gung ho. Like even us, like we're a little ho dink couple guys from Long Island that just like to talk paintball, and like we have subscribers and we have listens, and like our podcast is ranked in the top 250 in all sports podcasts in the U.S.
Oh,
And we're like,
nice.
yo, what is happening? Like, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Like, because people want to hear paintball content, and you're like kind of the first guy to break that through. And like now Marcelo and Tyler have theirs, and there's a couple Canadian guys that have theirs, but like yours was like the first one where they're like, I felt like that broke through and got people to know players.
Yeah, it's I'm very fortunate to be able to have access to a lot of the a lot of players in the industry, a lot of players, a lot of people in the industry. So I was very fortunate on that end. But yeah, man, it's been tough. It definitely has not been easy. That's for sure. That's one thing is like it's when Marcelo and Tyler have talked about it, I've just kind of, it's time consuming. Especially if you want to do video alongside of it. I know I kind of put that to the side, but I'll probably bring that back maybe. Just because it gets time consuming editing a video along with editing the audio and putting it up.
Yeah, there's a lot of back and work on a podcast. People don't understand. It's not just like we hit end record and then we toss it up there.
Yeah, it's fun. It's worth it though.
Oh, it's so worth it. And we're so lucky to get to the people we've talked to. Like you're so nice for coming on. And that was the other thing we were really worried about with our podcast too, was like, me and Waldo, even though I still don't, I got to figure out, he tries to text me, but like, what if people don't want to come on? I'm like, well, dude, we can always talk. Like, well, we know what was going to happen. There's going to be no tournaments. We're like, dude, there's always a tournament to talk to or an event to talk about. There's always something to talk about. But now I'm going off on a tangent, but just to be more paintball content, because people that play paintball want to listen to stuff about paintball, and they will. And yours was kind of like the first, and that's where you see the success of Tyler's. You see it like Behind the Bunker and all these podcasts, and like I said, even ours, like we're getting like a couple hundred downloads. Like I gotta look, but I think on Buzzsprout we just like hit like 1,500 downloads total.
Oh, nice.
And like I said, like people are listening because they want this content.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's a demand for it, that's for sure. And everybody, and what you have to kind of take into consideration is not everybody's gonna like it, but not everybody's gonna hate it. It's kind of one of those things where it's like you put out what you want, like produce what you want to produce. I mean, it's your show, it's your kind of flag to wave, and you can have it be whatever color, size, shape that you want it to be. And there's going to be people who point at it and go, I don't like the color of your flag, I don't like this, I don't like that. But it's like, well, then just don't look at it. You know what I mean?
No, I was telling him, because we had some haters, like just in the really beginning, just like a couple dudes that were like send us a message. I was like, dude, bro, the haters are gonna hate, and dude, for every 6 people that hate, there's probably 600 people that hit the content and like, oh, dude, I actually like these guys,
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I remember I read a review. I went down this stupid road of reading reviews, and I read one, and I kind of did the whole thing where I read it and I was like, oh, he's kind of got a point. But then I read it because he said that it was like, yeah, we know this. Shut up and let the guest talk. You talk way too much. We know that you did this. We know you're fast. We know blah blah blah. Let the guest talk. And I was like, he does have the point, but at the same time, I don't give a shit.
So, yeah, like it's your podcast, man.
Yeah, if you like it, then you're gonna listen. If people like it, they're gonna listen. If they don't like it, there's now plenty of other podcasts for people to go to. And I think the worst thing you could do right now, which I've kind of fallen under at the moment, is just not putting out any content. So I have to kind of pick up that slack and that ground that I've haven't been able to at the moment, and just kind of get back on the bandwagon of producing content, get to my 100th episode. And I think once I get there, I think I'll kind of be back on the round of things.
Right, you'll find a groove and you'll hit it again.
Yeah. Yep.
But what I was just gonna say, fuck, what was I just gonna say?
Yes, that's a Colt Roberts jersey. Is that what you're gonna ask? That one right there.
Actually, it's funny. Before, when you were going to get your tea, we were talking about, like, okay, I see Colt Roberts. I'm like, okay, that's definitely an Avalanche jersey.
Yeah, this season, this wasn't even like supposed to be the background. I didn't intend for it to be the background. It was just kind of my paintball corner where out of the entire basement where I've just kind of stored all of my paintball stuff. And I had a big white wall that went all the way around. So I was like, I got to do something about this big white wall, because I was over there doing the podcast and I was kind of under this cabinet and I had these different, I just was trying to find something. And I went back here and I was just like, I'll put a desk back here, and ended up wanting jerseys up there instead of walls. So
no, it's cool. It's a nice memory of the dudes you know and like the places you've been. I love like those kind of things.
Yeah, man, it's definitely cool. I always look at it and kind of sit there for a minute before I sit down, and I'm kind of just looking around. And this is obviously just a small smidgen of, my time playing the game and the players that I've gotten to know. But you kind of just sit back and you're like, hey, man, some pretty cool memories and times, that's for sure.
Yeah. So going off stuff you talking about in your podcast, so I know you get rid of a lot of your guns and stuff, but do you plan on holding on to a lot of the jerseys that you hold on to for those memories?
So I have one. Let's see. I've tried to keep at least one jersey of every team that I played for. I do not have an infamous jersey that I played in, but I have a Tippmann jersey, obviously. I have an Aftershock jersey. I have an excessive jersey, and there is one infamous jersey I wish I didn't get rid of. I wanted that back. But I ended up getting an infamous jersey. I had to play with them for the ICC last year, so I kept an infamous jersey from that. So I do have an infamous jersey. But yeah, I'm just trying to keep at least one jersey from each team. But other than that, it's like just ones I've collected kind of over the years.
Okay, and I just wonder, I'm sure not because you have so much going on, but have you ever played like overseas, or do you have have you ever thought about going over to play in the NXL Europe events?
I wanted to. So I wanted to early on in my career, and I don't know why I didn't. Thinking back on it, I wish I did. I played in Australia a few times in the Super Sevens over there, which are awesome. Yeah, those were amazing. Shout out to Jamie Griffin and everybody who had me over those few times. I had an amazing time. If I were to live somewhere overseas with a people, Australians are some really nice people. So I had a great time.
Yeah, awesome. I know. Going back to the European thing, I know because I'm 33, so I'm probably my days of being an NXL pro are probably long past. But I ever thought to play in the UK Masters, because that's something I've been thinking about doing, because that looks really sick. The team the event that the UK Predators put on there.
Oh, gotcha. How old do you have to be to play in the Masters?
I don't think it's an age thing. I think they just call it the UK Masters.
Oh, okay.
I think it's like their like premier like Woods Ball event in somewhere outside London, I want to say.
Nice.
And I was always saying, I was like, like I said, I probably won't play an NXL Europe event, but if I'm going to go to Europe and play, that might not be a bad spot
there
to
you
go hit up.
Yeah, I've always wanted to play in Europe. I wish I did. I want to see Europe. I love old architecture and just I love old stuff. So that would have been awesome.
Yeah, me too. Because I'd like to travel too, and I would like to be able to like do paintball and travel. And if I could do like two birds, one stone kind of deal, that would be nice.
Yeah, dude, I'm all about like when I was in Vegas for my last year, in 2018, I ended up going with Meter to Zach Baggins' the haunted museum that he has there, because I'm really into the paranormal and everything. So I ended up going there and seeing. I was like, I have to go there somewhere, and it was Sunday at the end of the day, and I was like, we have to go. There's no way about it. I'm not going to be able. I don't know when I'm going to be back in Vegas again, but we have to go. So he was the only one that ended up wanting to go with me. So I was like, we're going.
Yeah, I'm a big paranormal guy too. My mom is a big New Orleans person, and we've done like the vampire walks there. We've checked out all like the kind of movie stuff down there. It's been really cool.
Dude, that looks freaky down there.
It's kind of freaky. I mean, I'm sure the stories are mostly made up, and when they're like, yeah, they open the hatches on the wooden doors at night so vampires can fly in and sleep, and you're like, oh wow, okay, Jesus,
Okay, all right.
yeah. But it's a crit. It's wild. It's wild down there.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've always wanted to go there too and just kind of experience that. New Orleans.
No, for sure, for sure. So I don't want to keep you too much longer here because we covered through a lot of things fast. I know you have family time and stuff like that.
It's all good, man.
But I do. Do you have any have any clinics coming up this year? I know we were talking about the one possibly at the scenario, and I know COVID kind of has like everything up in the air. But do
Yeah.
you have like anything in finite, like you do these clinics here or anything like that?
Well, the plan was this year was to go to ICC before even COVID and all that happened.
Mhm.
The plan was this year to play a mechanical event or two and take my son to his first event, which would have been Chicago. I was going to go and just visit and just kind of
Mhm.
hang out as a fan for all of Saturday and just kind of have my little boy with me and just have him, kind of sit around and go, and I can point at him and go, Daddy used to do this. This was Daddy at one point, and him go,
Yeah.
okay, whatever, not be into it at all, picking up paintballs off the ground.
Yeah.
Well, just to be able to take him to an event and hopefully still kind of get behind the scenes if I could,
Mhm.
and kind of show him around. But no, at this moment, I don't really have anything planned besides the ICC event. I know I want to do some more clinics. It's just kind of getting them together and finding the right time to do everything. So
Yeah. And one more thing I want to get to do before, because I know you feel like the same way and stuff like that. What do you think of the rules of the ICC in this mechanical movement? Are you like, do you like it? Do you think it's not so great for paintball? Do you think it's good for paintball? Because I love it.
yeah, no, I mean it's definitely 100% positive thing for paintball, and not just for paintball, but for players. I think it's a huge kind of booster of just being able to kind of break from the traditional style of play, especially if you play just tournaments all the time. I think it's a great way to kind of relax yourself a little bit on not necessarily on the competitive side, because everybody who goes to IC is super competitive anyway, but just to not kind of have maybe so much pressure on your shoulders, to have fun, go out there and just kind of dick around a little bit, but be serious. I think it's 100% great for paintball. I wish he did 3 events a year rather than just the one, but maybe just the one is why it's so special.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I think I hope I'm hoping that he has more events and they continue to happen. I hope more leagues pop up so there's more tournaments to play, and yeah, I hope to play more.
Yeah, because I personally love them, and this is the dead horse I beat, but I tell this to all like lower divisional guys like me that want to get really good at paintball and don't have a lot of time. Like, you should be playing this. I'm like, because I was talking to a bunch of like D4 guys at this practice, and I'm like, yeah, I've squared up against Dynasty before because we were face up against them at ICC. I'm like, all you guys should be trying to play these because I'm a firm believer, and if you keep playing the same D4 teams in your area and beating them, you're never going to get better. Like, you got to really like put yourself out there, and yeah, you might get smacked by a team that's better than you, but you're going to learn more in that one game more than you will if you beat the same team 12 times at your local field.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have to have you not only have to do that, but you also have to have a mindset and come out of that in a learning capacity. Otherwise, if you just hold grudges and you just are, you're grumbling under your breath the whole time because you got shot by, Dynasty, then you're not going to learn. Or if you're awestruck that you got shot by him, and that you have to always be willing to learn, and you always have to be willing to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not going to call them out on this podcast, but there's like a local team in our area that stepped up to play semi-pro for an event. I think at Atlantic City when the event was in Atlantic City, and they didn't do so hot. They took a big jump. They went from like D3 to semi-pro, whatever, and they got like beat. Yeah, big jump. But then after that, like, they didn't play again anymore. Like, they got defeated, and I was like, "Yo, what's the matter with you? Like, big deal. Like, you 0-4, like, you're the first team ever to get 0-4'd. Like,
Right.
dude, dust yourself off, get back out there, and keep at it. Like, keep doing it."
Yeah.
And I just saw that, and it blew me away because I was like, "You guys are good. Like, what are you doing? Like, big, like, it's I don't know. Like, it doesn't even resonate with them. Like, big deal, you lost. Like, who the fuck cares?"
Yeah. Yeah. It's
But,
you,
like,
you pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and you
Greenspan's never lost a game. Like,
figure it
you've
out.
never lost games before. Like, it's all about
Never.
what you do next. It's your next move is what's important.
Yeah. What jersey do you have back behind you?
Oh, that's mine from that's my GZ jersey.
Oh,
That's the
nice.
first thing
I
we had
could
from
hardly
GZ.
see it because it's camo, but
Yeah. No, because I've been trying to. So, like, we were talking about this with yours and our thing. So we're trying to get our set up too.
Mhm.
And then COVID happened, and now we're doing it like this. So, and I'm trying to. I'm like, how can I display at least a little something so it doesn't legit look like I'm sitting in my guest room, which I am.
yeah,
At least I can display something a little paintball.
yeah. I eventually, hopefully, in a new place that we get, is I get my own room, my own office to be able to do the podcast in. But for now, the corner of the basement is kind of my podcast home away from home.
Yeah, because we have we're getting banned. We're trying to make up a little room too, but like I said, with COVID and everything, it just kind of like threw everything up in the air.
Yeah, dude, throw some jerseys, some banners, just kind of make it well lit. I mean, mine's not that greatly well lit, but just just put a little color here and there.
Yeah, it's been great. Like we love doing the podcast. Like we get the opportunity to talk to you guys. I've learned so much talking from it. I can't even describe it in words.
Yeah. So what are you shooting?
Oh, 170R. I love mine. Nice. I have them all too. Like I got a Shocker CVO. Not that they're all good, but I know you're a big PE guy too. The reliability. Like I know that if I core sample pretty hard, like the gun will still shoot it. Just probably have to unscrew the front of my barrel.
Yeah. That the EMAC that I have is one of the first ones that they put out, so it's like it doesn't have the pop system or anything in it, so it's like it's super rental. And it feels, not that it feels like a 98, but it has that rugged rigidity, like just all stock and nothing to it, and I like that about it. And I was like, I'm just gonna shoot that. This is what I'm gonna sell everything off, and I'm just gonna keep this and just rock this, because this is just pure paintball right here.
It is. I love the one trigger pull and the ball come out. God, it feels so good.
It's the same thing for me. You probably heard me say it all the time, but it's the same concept as shooting semi-auto for me.
Yeah.
Every ball has a conscious decision behind it.
I did that.
Yeah, exactly. It's to me it's fun being like, putting out a pull and a ball goes out and you see it blow off his pack or whatever, rather than just a flurry of paint and you're like, well, I kind of pulled the trigger and 10.5 balls came out or whatever, and I got it eventually. But
right,
I mean, that's I say that shit all the time, so I'm sure people are gonna be like, yeah, we know.
Yeah, I know. And I say it all the time on here too, because I agree with you like 10,000%.
See, and that's the thing, though, is that not everybody has to agree, but that's just how I take it and how I played the game, and what made it fun for me when I was out there competing in the midst of everything. Obviously, that was fun, but how can I challenge myself? Not that it wasn't a big challenge what I was doing already, but I just like putting. I mean, not even that they were, kind of bumps in the road for myself, but just I love being challenged, and I love kind of challenging myself, and that was the whole thing behind the 4 pods, and that I got yelled at constantly with Bruno about, and it's, and just not shooting my gun and this and that, and it's like I don't know, I played a certain way. I still do play a certain way. It's just what makes me comfortable.
No, 100%. Because I'm like you in the beginning. Well, Waldo's not here, but when I first started to get to tournaments, he was that guy. Waldo was the guy that kind of pulled me out of like the scenario scene. It was like, dude, you're actually a good player. You need to like go on the tournament thing. Mm-hmm. And one of the first thing he's like, dude, this is X ball. He's like, shoot your goddamn gun, like all the time. I don't care. Just shoot your goddamn gun. And I was like, dude, I'm not. No, man. I wait for my opportunity, man.
Yeah, I'll make the most of my opportunities, and they'll like I will have them present themselves in one way or another. So if your job is to shoot your gun a bunch, you could do that, and then I'll do the little weaseling up the field, and then I'll shoot packs and backs, and then you shoot loaders, I'll shoot packs and backs.
Yeah, exactly. When the guy's not looking at me and I get the drop on him, it doesn't take a lot of paint, man.
Yeah, dude, it just takes one, bro. It just takes one. Like, even if I have to shoot him in, then it takes 3 or whatever. Like,
Right.
that's why I always preach, accuracy over volume. So
Yeah, always practice the snap shooting drills, and I'm a big fan of that as well.
even just dicking around, like not even snap shooting. Obviously, snap shooting helps, but even just between points or when you're by yourself, or even if you're practicing in your backyard, just set targets up and just shoot them. Just
Oh yeah,
not even, and I'm not even saying like going through the motions of like doing a snapshot, but just go boom, 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 but like just become one with your marker and just kind of fluidly go through. Like I would go through a drill of walking the field widthwise, and on the back line you would have your posts, and as I'm walking I would shoot either left-handed or right-handed, and as I'm walking I wouldn't stop, and I would just go from one post to the next, and if I missed I would still continue to walk, but I would just start back at the first post
post again.
and
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. If I missed, I'd just keep walking. I'd go back at the first one, boom, 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 and then I would just shoot the post all the way down, and I'd just go all the way back. And if I want to jog and do it, then I jog and do it. If I want to run and do it, I run and do it. But yeah, it's just like little things like that, just working on my accuracy. And the more comfortable that you get, like for me, it was always about being comfortable. And if I felt comfortable with my marker, I know that, and I felt comfortable with my shot and the weight of the marker. And I sometimes I shot it with a full loader, sometimes I shot it with a lower loader, and I always just kind of felt those different variabilities. And I don't know, I just kind of put myself in different scenarios to challenge myself in the practices and kind of just sharpen my sword in that kind of way.
Yeah,
If that makes any sense.
No, it makes a ton of sense. There's a ton of stuff I want to say about that. We're trying to wrap it up, and I'm going to talk for another.
Oh,
20
dude, no,
minutes,
all good.
probably.
I got time, man.
Cool, man. So, like, my mother and I, we grew up on 3 acres. So, all the time, like, people are throwing out, like, oh, I'm going to dump this pot. I'm like, no, dump it in this box. I'll take it. And, like, so many times we go home and we're just shooting, like, posts and stuff in our backyard. And you're right. I think one of the things that helped me build a shot kind of early in me playing paintball was that just going home. And now, like, when I pick up the gun and I put it on my shoulder, it's comfortable. It's a part of me. Like, that whole motion is just like a part of my life. And it just changed everything. And the other thing you were saying is, like, I feel like the situations you can control, like being comfortable with your guns, those are the things you want to try and maximize. Because in paintball, there's so many things you can't control.
Right.
So be comfortable in the things you can control, like how the gun feels on your shoulder and getting ready and stuff like that. Because there's a ton of stuff that's going to come up that you can't control or weren't expecting, and you're going to catch you off guard.
Right. And I shoot every shot expecting to hit the target. So like if I miss, I get pissed at myself.
Fuck.
Like,
yeah,
I say it all the time on the field. Like if I missed a shot, I'd be like, fuck, because I expect out of myself, out of every ball that I put a finger to, I expect to hit the target that I point my barrel at. And, and if I don't, then I need to work harder. I need to take 5 more shots to every missed shot that I have, or whatever it is. I need to reset. If I miss a shot, I need to reset because I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared at the moment as I should be. So that's kind of just my mindset of having that accuracy dialed in.
Yeah. I'll whittle it down to something a little smaller. Is one of the dude actually helps us with the podcast told me this thing is like success happens when preparation meets opportunity. When you've prepared for the opportunity, you're more likely to succeed.
Yeah.
And I try and carry that in almost anything in life, paintball or whatever. That's why I always try and that's why I get down on one of the things that drives me crazy about the people in my area is like they always want to talk about why they're not getting better. And I'm like, well, what'd you do this morning before work? Did you like exercise at all? Like, oh no, you did nothing. Like, so what do you mean you're trying to get better? Like,
yeah,
the dudes that are taking this seriously are what you think Ryan Greenspan's not working out in the morning. Have you seen the guy? The guy looks like a Greek god, man, and he's like twice the age as you, bro. Like,
yeah,
like, don't complain. Like, come on, man.
There is the people who. We were kind of talking about guys who weren't physically in that good of shape before the podcast, like talking about because of the COVID thing. And it's a life choice. I'm not saying paintball is a life choice. I'm just saying there's a choice that you have where you either decide to, not that you can't, but you either decide whether you're just going to wake up and go to work, or you wake up and you prepare yourself for the day, or you come home and you sit down on the couch and you
Right.
just kind of just deflate into the couch, or you get home and you say, okay, work is done, now on to the next thing, so there's these just, I listened to the Rogan Kevin Hart podcast
Oh,
today.
I haven't listened to his yet. I have it downloaded. I got to. Too
Yeah,
many
yeah.
Call podcasts right now on my phone.
Right?
They're popping off for
Exactly.
me.
Yeah, big shout out to Tyler and Marcelo for theirs. They've been killing it, and I'm glad you guys are having podcasts. I'm glad there's the podcasts out there that are out there. So there's definitely content to be absorbed. But I listen to that, and it's just kind of this whole life is a game, and you have to take the game serious, and you have to play the game, as Marcelo and Tyler would say.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to take life into consideration when you want it to change, and if you want it to change, and it won't if you don't demand more of yourself, and you don't take action to your thoughts and your ideas and your mindset. Because before you know it, I mean, I've been told this over and over again, and it's happened, and it's occurred many times, and well, not many times in my life, but it has happened where it's like you snap your fingers, and you're at this point in your life now, and you look around and you go, holy shit, like I swear I was just here, like 5 years ago was just around the corner, it was just yesterday, and this and that. So life happens, and it happens quickly, and the more that you involve yourself into things, that whether it be good or bad, the more that you involve yourself in, the quicker I feel life happens. And if you don't take advantage of getting the positives and going in the right direction in those moments, then every time that you have that kind of moment where you're in the moment and you realize, and you kind of look around where you are, you're going to regret all the decisions that you've made, and you're going to hate the position that you're in, more times than not, unless you take action on what you really want to do or what you want your life to become.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like it is what you make of it. Like, and nothing's better than seeing the fruits of your labor. So, like, the other thing I want to say, like, out loud is like, so, like, I've been putting in extra work. I work out in the morning, and I try and go running in the afternoon. Sometimes I always don't. I do work, so I am tired when I get home.
Yeah,
but I always hit at least once a day. And then, at ICPL, we took second place in the amateur, and that was a good feeling. Not losing in the finals, but like being on the podium, and I was like, man, like my hard work is paying off.
Yeah, and it will show. And I was just talking to my wife about this. Like, I never really knew, obviously I know now, but I never really knew the meaning of you reap what you sow. And by the time I came of age to kind of really think about that and take in what it really meant, I was like, fuck, it's so true of you getting in what you or you getting out what you put in, and the hard work and the time and the dedication that you put towards something, you will get out tenfold. It might not happen right away, but if you put in the effort and the ideas and the mental the mental capacity into something, as long as you put that in there, you will get out what you put in.
Yeah, it's crazy how you don't learn that until later in life. I'm 33. How old are you,
right.
Carl?
34.
34. So you're almost like, I didn't start thinking like this till like probably I was 30. And it's like, man, I wish I would have had this mindset when I was like 18.
It was very late 20s when I kind of discovered this whole thing.
When I like clicked, right?
Yeah, and it's weird, because I do look back and I go, why wasn't I thinking this way, and why wasn't I taking things as serious as I should have back then? I look back at myself and I was like, I was grateful, but I was so naive, so naive. And now it's like you take for granted. And I think, I had this conversation with a few different people where it's like, time becomes more important but quicker later on in life, because you realize how because you realize what it is, right?
Right.
When you're young and you have all of this extra time, I don't think you realize that it holds any kind of weight to it.
Right. It
And
doesn't have
until
like a
you
value.
exactly, and then all of a sudden, when time becomes relevant and it becomes something that you have to take advantage of and kind of be aware of, is when things start clicking, and when that adulthood kind of starts happening. Because I feel like I remember, when you're young and summers felt like they lasted forever, and tournaments
Right.
felt like they were 2 weeks long, and seasons felt like they were all year, every weekend, because you're playing so much paintball, and when that when time starts being taken up by not more important things, but just more adult things, you start realizing that it starts going by quicker, I feel.
Yeah. When life starts to settle in a little bit, family, like
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. Yep.
But all right, actually, I think that is a good spot to end it after we just dropped some hopefully words of wisdom for some younger listeners.
Yeah, sorry that I didn't mean to kind of go off on like philosophy on whatever.
No, but like paintball is such a mental thing, man. It
Mhm.
really is. It really, like I said, we're talking about the guys that lost one tournament. They kind of got defeated, and it's like, I don't know. I would never let that happen. Like you just got to
Yeah.
keep going. So
Yeah,
everything's mental.
paintball is a mental game with a physical outcome.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of one of those things where it's like, and it's a team sport with individual effort, that just, and you can say honestly the same thing about any sport. There's obviously thinking that goes in and that's involved in hockey and football and everything else. But I take paintball as a puzzle, and the
Right.
more you do this puzzle, and the more you put your mind in this puzzle, the quicker and more efficient you will be at solving the puzzle.
No, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
100%. But all right, guys, I would like to again thank Caller for coming on and doing this episode. It was so awesome to talk to. I
Yeah.
still get nervous talking to these big guys, but we're still going to hopefully
All
keep
good,
getting
man.
more of them.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
yeah, no problem. Waldo, I guess, sends his regards. He was trying to text me during that, but I didn't want to look at my phone.
Fix your shit, Waldo.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, man. I have to keep telling him he's got to fix his old lady internet. He's got to reset his router once in a while.
There you go. Tell somebody to get off the phone.
Yeah, so tell her to stop streaming Netflix, man. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. Take it easy.
See ya.